Right, everyone. Thank you for hanging on. We are almost half a day through the event. Gosh, how time flies. Anyway, I'm going to say a few words before I hand it over to our speaker next, Josephine. This is a thank you to our sponsors, Redgate Software, SQL Gene Training, and also Sessionize, without which we wouldn't be able to do this event. Also to the many people, allies who have amplified the cause and enabled us to get attendees today. We couldn't do this without you. Today's event has some donations going from Redgate Software to the Foster Family Alliance of North Carolina, where Tracy Borgiano has been doing some great work for over 2 decades now. Redgate Software is donating $25 per talk today to this cause. So we want to thank you, Redgate, and we want to thank you, Tracy, for doing what you do. A disclaimer, this is for sharing stories of our community only. Whatever speakers or organizers or anybody sharing here is not medical advice and not a substitute for any kind of medical advice. So if you have problems, please consult professionals and please talk to your doctor about it. And also read the session descriptions before viewing to make sure that the matter is not bothering you in any significant way. Our code of conduct is on dataplatformwit.com/code of conduct here. We've rarely had issues with people not sticking to it, but just making sure everybody knows there is one. And with that, I want to hand it over to our next awesome speaker, Josephine Bush, on handling chronic pain. Take it away, Josephine.
Thank you, Mala. Let me get set up here and get sharing. So, hi, everybody. My cat will inevitably making an appearance because he's already waiting to go into the camera. He wants to go into everything. He's like my little comfort cat. So let's see here. Okay. Oh, hold on. We have to start sharing. Okay. So, okay. Oh, thank you. It's over. It's 2 seconds. That's it. Just start at the end. I'll just start at the end. It's done. That was so fast. Now you have 20 minutes back. So, okay. So welcome to Managing Chronic Pain. And I find that the most soothing thing that I have in my life is my cat. I have an orange tabby nut. So unlike this cat that loves sleeping in his bed, and I especially like watching him sleep and or lick his toes. I find it very soothing. He's like very present, which I'm trying harder to be, which is difficult. So I am Josephine Bush. So I'm Microsoft MVP and DBA, and I authored some books on SQL and auditing and stuff. And you can find all my information on my blog at SQL Kitty. I do have a QR code at the end of the slide deck, which links to my blog. And I'm planning to add links there. I have not done so. I will also provide the slide deck to you. It has clickable stuff throughout. So that'll be up in my GitHub, which is SQL Kitty too. So just so you know, this is going to go fast, but you'll have access to it. So basically, I was working under the all you need is less model, like the less is more model of life lately, just in general. And so I'm just going to kind of go through my pain journey today and just some specifics and the things that I've tried, that what I've tried is helpful or not. Usually I'm not going to tell you a lot of not helpful since I probably did that before. So anyway, to start, we have the foundation, right? We have a foundation of not treating your body like it's a machine. So doing the basic stuff, because you're not going to mind your way out of things you're doing to your body that may not be like really healthy for you, right? If you're not getting enough sleep, if you're not eating regularly and, trying to get healthy foods in there, right? If you're not exercising enough, often enough is different for each of us too. So I say the word enough, which that can be different things for each of us, or drinking enough water. Or lastly, I was doing all those things pretty religiously, right? But then I was kind of failing on the stress management part. I thought that I was handling the stress management part, but was I really doing that? Was I actually taking care of myself in that regard? And I think the answer was firmly no. So the pain journey has been going on for a while. I had chronic migraine for years on end. And I put in this category of pain. Like I had anxieties or depression, and I had other pains and agonies as well. I mean, it was always something going on. So, but one day, so I have a migraine doctor and he gave me medicines, and I still do Botox. I'll admit I didn't stop that. It's the only thing that physically I was treated with by, medical community that actually helped. So I have not gotten rid of that, but I was like a guinea pig for every drug that came out, it was tested by and approved, but I would like, yeah, give me that drug, give me that drug. I don't even know long-term, what does this do? I was desperate to get rid of the pain. But one day I woke up. This is sort of where the epiphany starts, is I woke up and sat up in bed like we do, you sit up and it's, oh, this seems like it should be fine. No, it felt like somebody threw me out of an airplane, and so I lay back down. I think, okay, just rest a little bit more. Okay. And then I wait for a couple minutes. I do the same thing. Same thing happens. Then I think, well, now I'm really nauseous and everything else, because you like feel like everything's spinning, like literally thrown out of an airplane from your bed. And I think, could I call my husband? I mean, he's not home right now. He'd gone to his volunteer job already. And my phone is like over on the floor a little from me because I'm probably on call. I had this pretty rigorous on call at my last job. And no, I can't get to my phone because it's over. I had to like crawl out of the bed. So I literally like sit very, very carefully up and get out of the bed, and then slowly, carefully get to the phone. So it's so bad. It's so bad that I can barely do anything. So I'm like working, but I'm like sitting perfectly still, like so my head doesn't move. If I move it just a little, it's like, so I go to my migraine doctor, and because I called them, hey, yeah, that could definitely be migraine. It could be vestibular migraine in particular. I get some dizziness, vertigo sometimes. I like feel a little split second of some kind of thing, but not like this. So I go in, of course, they always have another rabbit to pull out of their hat. What I call like a medicinal rabbit, because it's amazing. They're very supportive, and they're like, come right in, just like, but they see me, they're going to prescribe me some really expensive drug. My insurance needs pre-authorization, all this. In the interim, go to your regular doctor, go to your GP, just in case you need to check this stuff out, right? Just to be careful. So thankfully my GP is out the next day. I see his PA, and it's like totally life-changing, serendipitous event, because she said, look, I had exactly the same thing as you. Literally everything you're telling me is like, it was like a carbon copy of her. She said, you got to go see this guy. He's an MD. He left this practice, in fact, to start mind body medicine practice, because he saw that a huge percentage of patients, up to like 60%, were coming in with these chronic conditions that really had to have this integration with the mind. Like you have things that you may be doing, you don't even realize that are contributing to it. Well, that afternoon, I was like, what? No, I mean, I was really frustrated. I came home and took a nap, which is exactly what I needed. So thankfully, I listened to my body that day and did that. I woke up from the nap and said, yeah, I got to contact this guy. And this started the journey into this neural pain pathway and this neuroplasticity, and the pain is real, but you aren't sick kind of process. So it's not like people dismissively saying, oh yeah, that's just in your head. Like, yeah, you're just neurotic. It's just psychosomatic, all these just dismissive comments, right? It was like a real thing, but it's not like some pill. You're not going to go get a magic pill. It's going to just solve this problem, right? So yeah, I wasn't really sure I believed all that. And he's an MD. So he said, look, if you have something come up, he said, okay, when I meet with you, I need to know that you've gone through all the medical routes. We need to ensure you had a brain MRI, like you have migraine, if it's your back, you've had this other thing done, right? You've had the diagnostics. It's been going on a while, because even if you hurt yourself, like he said, if you fall down and hurt yourself, there's acute pain, right? You might break something. But over time, that pain should go away with therapies, like if it's like going on, 3, 6, 9 months, like years later, your back still hurts even from an injury, you're getting into that neuroplastic pain territory, right? So, but the thing is, if you have something like I had strep throat or bladder infection, something, yeah, of course I'm going to take the antibiotics. I had some stomach problem that was new, because my brain was like busy helping me out. It's like, you don't want migraine pain? That's okay. I'll give you some stomach pain. But I did go to the doctor and check that out. So that's always first thing. You don't just assume it's in your mind. If it's like something like it's really bothering you, go to the doctor. make sure you have that checked out. So anyway, before I had even started with my body doctor, I was big into yoga. These are some of my favorites. I love Yoga Joelle the best because she's got these like bite-sized chronic pain emphasis ones too. So it's like, I had such bad migraine. I'm not like doing no hour-long yin yoga even, right? So, but I discovered through the process, as I'll kind of briefly explain to you, so I don't have a lot of time here, is that I was doing yoga as if my life depended on it, which is not a great approach. You think I got to do yoga every day, otherwise it won't help. And as we go through, we'll see that's not a very compassionate approach to yourself. Like you miss a day, the world's not going to come to an end. And then I was doing Curable app. I was doing Insight Timer. My favorite TED Talk is this: don't try to be mindful. Oh, by the way, I don't get any kickback from any of these people. I personally know Darren Larson, but I only know him because I saw his TED Talk and then I contacted him about that and his services on mindfulness. And he can like personally coach you. He has like groups and stuff like that. So this is not a plug or anything, but I'm just saying that was a really life-changing podcast, TED Talk, by the way. So I was doing all this stuff before I found my mind body guy. And it was sort of like, oh yeah, I was already kind of getting to that point subconsciously kind of. So, but then he turned me on to some of these people that are, this is the experts in this area, right? Like John Sarno goes way back and he talks a lot about how the physical pain is distracting you from what your brain does not want to deal with. It's like, well, I don't really want to deal with inner rage, which that's a big thing with Sarno. He's talking about the inner rage. Like you might be angry because an example he uses, like you have to take care of your elderly parents or something. And it's stressful for you. Now it's not like you feel justified in being angry, but it's stressful for you. And so then your mind is like, well, I don't want to deal with that anger because it doesn't feel right. And so then you have back pain or whatever pain. Funny enough, I found Healing Back Pain to be the best book in terms of between Mind Body Prescription and back pain was the best for me with migraine. Funny enough. So it's just whatever resonates with you. So those are really great to go through and get the base concept because a lot of this stuff is based on his work. So then I also found out about Gabor Mate, and he has this attachment versus authenticity, right? When you're a child, of course, it really comes into play because, you know, you have to be attached to your parents, but how authentic can you be, especially if you have like traumas and things like that. So that he's bigger into the trauma aspect of it as well. But, you know, that's where the compassion comes in, right? It's not just compassion for others, but for yourself and kind of knowing yourself, right? And so I kept going because that's how I am. I don't do anything halfway. That's probably part of the problem of why I have some of these migraines too. I never did anything halfway. So I found Nicole Sachs along the way. I started to think, I wondered if writing would help, like handwritten in a notebook with a pen. I have a very distinct, I keep this very segmented approach to life in the sense that I have a work area, which is the digital area, which I do like Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 style, right? And then I have another separate area on the other side, the same room, but it's like on the other side. And I keep it like so that I can do art and journaling and other this analog stuff, right? But so Nicole Sachs has you go through and list out your big T and little t traumas. It doesn't matter how in your adult mind, how ridiculously small it seems now, you could chuckle, but it's the way that your mind at the time handled it. So she has you go through and make that list and then you write about it in turn day after day, right? And it reminded me kind of this artist, Julia Cameron, who does the morning pages thing. You got to get up first thing, write 3 pages, stream of consciousness, and you just blab it out on paper and never read it again. But, you know, handwritten. So I like the handwritten part. I'm not a morning person. So I've had people say, like yoga people or journaling people or whatever, you got to do this in the morning. It's got to be first thing. Well, it's never going to happen then. So I just do it in the late afternoon, you know, like after work is done, I could pick up this stuff, do yoga, do meditation, whatever, because that's when it works for me. Like that's what you have to, that's the hard work here, is that you have to find the things that work for you. I could tell you 15 things that work for me. You can check them out and then you have to find out what works for you. So then I found what I felt to be the most pivotal thing, which was Alan Gordon. So he had kind of the foundation of the Dr. Sarno stuff, right? But he explained it in a way that was just so amazing. He explained it so clearly. So basically, it's like a pain switch, right? Like that neuroplastic thing again we're talking about. And the thing that really resonated, there was a few things that resonated with me and him, and his stuff really was, don't turn healing into a task that turns into this thing where you're like, it's a chore. And it's like, like I said, I've got to go to the mat every day. You know, I've got to like not go to the mat, because I do go to the mat every day. My yoga mat rolls out every day. What I do on the mat depends on the day. That's just the time and space like that I give to myself for the healing, for the compassion, for the whatever. If that day I'm a wiggly and irritable and I'm just like squirming around on the mat, and I don't want to do yoga and I don't want to listen to podcasts and I don't want to stare at the ceiling, and it winds up just being this wiggly mess, that's the wiggly mess on the yoga mat that day. But I realize he's like, you're maybe doing things that it's helping your brain stay high alert. You don't realize, like maybe you're rolling out of bed and you're on your phone immediately. Maybe you're on your phone last minute at bedtime. Maybe all this, it depends on you. He gives some examples. And then he also goes through walking you through kind of the somatic process that my mind body doctor as well talked about, where it's like, okay, I have pain right now. And it's like awareness. You describe it in a non-fearful way. It's like, okay, you're just describing it to yourself in this like purely, physical based descriptions. Like it's stabbing, like it's burning, not, oh God, I'm terrified. How long is this going to last? Right. And the main thing is that you don't just try to hold out as long as possible to see how long you can take before you take your medicine. It's like this process. So maybe one day it takes you 10 seconds, you're like 30 seconds into somatic tracking, and that's it. That's all I can take my meds now. But then maybe the next time you got 2 minutes before you take your medicine. Maybe next time it's 10 minutes, and it's not always a progression like that. Life, it goes up and down. It's like you're running along and you fall in a ditch. You're like, well, cover that ditch over because I don't want to fall in that one again. And then you keep running along and you fall in another ditch, right? So, it's just that. It's this compassion. Like I had a time where I got a couple months out of not taking any medication to treat the migraine. And then I got a flare up. I was like, dang it. So I went through this process. I didn't even realize, I forgot, I should go read Alan Gordon's book, the chapter on relapse. I went through exactly what he described. And I only realized I should read his book when I got to the end, when it was already kind of going away. I was like, yeah, good reminder. And his podcast is amazing because it takes you through. I did the book and the podcast because I felt like they worked really well together, because then in the book I can highlight, make notes. But, he talks about things, people do things like maybe you're limited now because of your chronic pain, but somebody else does that same thing. Or like even my MD told me, okay, yeah. So even if they find something on an MRI, like you're, it looks like you have something, this or that in your back or something here, wherever. He said, like, if you take 10 people off the street randomly, and they did a study, in fact, did a study, they showed that people have these back issues. They don't have any pain at all. So it is really, really eye-opening. I actually have a link back on my slide about the neural pain pathways from my MD, and he has a whole presentation he gives on this, showing the science that they literally said randomly, you had no back pain, you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. And these people had these terrible back abnormalities, right? And they had no pain at all. So it really is like the pain is real, but you're not sick thing, right? And so an example for me with Alan Gordon, you can tell how much I like him because I'm on this slide for a while, is I'm taking a walk, I get a migraine. Well, wait a second now. Why am I getting a migraine when I take a walk? Because tons of people take a walk. I used to take walks without migraine. So it was just a process of taking the walks and talking myself through the walk, listening to his podcast while I was walking, even like stuff like that. And it is a lot of work. I'll tell you, I met my mind body doctor first time November of 2020. It took me like 2 solid years of this regular work through this stuff to get to a place where I was like getting substantially better. It is a lot of work, but it's well worth the work, because then you're not reliant on pharmaceuticals that stop working, that don't work. And it's just life-changing. So then we come to sort of the and beyond part here, where I like plopped a bunch of stuff messily on a slide and forgot to clean it up even, because I was like, that's good enough, I guess. Anyway, this is the stuff I've been doing slowly over time. That's the point, is I'm trying to do things more slowly. I'm like, like throw everything at myself, like pile it all on as much as possible. And no, that's not a great approach. So I've been doing some of these different things with rest is resistance. And my latest one is like, yeah, resting, staring at the ceiling. Like, you don't have to be productive all the time. You know, it's this capitalist model of productivity. And Simply Fiercely, that is actually a blog about minimalism and decluttering and stuff. But man, if she doesn't have some great stuff around vision and values and all kinds of stuff so this, I have this all links here. I'm going to put it in my blog. By the way, the QR code at the end is like, hey, links coming soon, because it was actually Megan in the last presentation had a QR code. And I was like, dang, that's a really great idea. So I put it in mine last second here. So I couldn't help it over the weekend. Last weekend, I thought I felt like acronyms coming on here. So I put some acronyms up here for you. But basically, like I said in the agenda, like how you got here, what got you here won't get you there. It's like the definition of insanity, like doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So I had to cut way the heck back on hobbies. I had like 15 hobbies, and I was doing 3 presentations a week, and I had relationships, like friendships, that maybe weren't that healthy. I was like overbooking myself, not respecting my limits, not being true to myself. And so feeling all my feelings, but not toxic positivity, not like, oh, well, at least it's not this, at least it's not that, and all these things. And yeah, we have a lot to be lucky for. And one of the things we have to be lucky for is that we can like actually do this work and feel the real feelings and not just coat them over like, oh, let's just glaze over that, right? Not like wallowing in self-pity, but you know what I mean? Not toxic positivity. That's a buzzword these days, right? Authentic, another buzzword. Megan said that too about, authentic. So I had to do this because I was thinking of Jess, who's giving busy as a 4-letter word later, I believe, on this day. I highly recommend that. It's an excellent presentation. So I capitalized on that with lazy as a 4-letter word, because we think of laziness as like bad thing. Oh my God, it's terrible. You're so lazy. But then there's like lazy day at the beach, for instance, right? I had a lazy weekend. Like, it's not a bad thing. It's like gentle, slow, relaxed. So then I realized, well, duh, pain is a 4-letter word. So we could like put more lazy in there and have less pain. So basically, I got an orange cat thing going on because I love my little one. He didn't even come here. Well, he tried to, but he left. He said, forget it. This is boring. He likes tech talks. He loves tech talks more than this, I guess. So basically, you're slowing down, right? Your less is more, holding space for healing. And I came up with it might be floating around, but being your own guru, because you can watch 15,000 TED Talks and they all tell you opposite things. And you can listen to me telling you what to do, and you can listen to 15,000 other people, right? All these people. But then you have to figure out what works for you. So that's kind of like the end of this. And I went a little over because I can't help myself. But so you can contact me. Feel free to email me or check out my blog. And so this little Scan Me here is going to have all the links. I'm going to do it right after I'm done here, so that if you go there, it'll just say links coming soon. Also, I'm going to make this a PDF that's clickable and put it in my GitHub so that you guys can like click through in the different places in here. But I will put all those links in my blog too. So thanks for listening. Hopefully something here helps you all. I don't know if there were any questions at all, because I didn't see any chat. So
there is just one comment from on the Q&A.
Oh yeah, I see it. Oh hey, yeah. That's actually not near my house in Boulder. because I'm not that far away from you. I meant to talk to you actually. Well, there's Mango. Speak of the devil. So I meant to talk to you, actually hit you up because I know you're down Denver area. Look, there's Mango. There's my comfort cat. Ah. He's like, hello. Oh, I know. He likes to come in and get, see, there we go. He came in right after I was saying that. So yeah, I try not to use a stock photo if I can avoid it. Thanks, guys. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, he's a very good kitty. He loves meetings. The minute I start talking, especially if I'm on camera, he comes in and he's like, ooh, there's the camera. And he's got to like climb all over, try to step on the keyboard and, you know, but he's a good boy. He's in the middle of everything. Like the time he got into my watercolors and he got red paint on his feet, I had to carry him to the bathroom and he ran all over the bathroom with little red footprints everywhere before I could wash his feet off. He's very helpful. That's a good boy. See, you can say hi to the people. Besides, I'm sequel kitty. I realized I was trying to keep my cat out of my presentations and I thought, wait a second, I'm a sequel kitty. Why am I trying to keep my cat out? I mean, there's no point, right? Why doesn't he just come in? Plus, we're doing all these like free presentations. I don't want to be unprofessional, but at the same time, I realized I'm doing this like community service and I figure, well, if he comes in and he shoulder surfs, like this is Mango's shoulder surfing and he's trying to eat my hair, as you can see, then I figure, well, maybe that seems like totally normal and natural. Another way to be true to myself.
All right, Josephine, thank you so much for taking time.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. So yeah, I appreciate this. Thanks so much for organizing it.
No problem.